Hello and welcome to another episode of Midierror Meets, where we speak to all sorts of people who work in sound and music. On the show this time we're speaking to E.M.M.A, who is a really talented producer, composer, sound designer. She makes really amazing music, really ethereal, dreamlike music. She also runs her own Pastel Prism record label, which she releases on. And she's really well known for being behind not only the Fatberg, which we talk about, but also the ProducerGirls workshops, allowing people who are non-males to be in a comfortable learning space that's fun and learn how to make electronic music. Thank you very much for supporting the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. It really, really means a lot. There's going to be some amazing episodes coming up, including this one. Emma's cooking a chicken during this interview, so you'll see a question about a chicken come up. That's why. And let's get on with it. The first question I asked Emma was about her musical beginnings.
My earliest memory of music is probably headbanging to Bohemian Rhapsody in the back of Mum's car. And around that time, also Mum was listening to a rave tape, which is all I can remember. It was like rave music on a tape, and that was our favourite tape, me and my sisters. The headbanging came from Wayne's World, I think, maybe, that scene in Wayne's World. So that's probably my earliest memory. I mean, if you want to discount New Kids on the Block and Jason Donovan, which may predate that, actually.
I don't think we should ever discount New Kids on the Block and Jason Donovan. NKOTB they were called, weren't they?
Yeah, I had a bright yellow Walkman at some point. God, I shouldn't really be saying this because I'm aging myself, but the yellow Walkman and New Kids on the Block. Now you've mentioned it.
Amazing. And what was it about those artists and that particular song for headbanging that like got you going?
Well, I think it was Mum's influence, not New Kids on the Block, but Mum was quite like, there was an incident with our my dad's Welsh, and when we were like very young, some friends of my grandparents in Wales told us to sing God Save the Queen, and Mum was apparently really impressed because me and my sisters started singing Bohemian Rhapsody instead. So I think it maybe developed a bit of I obviously was too young to know that they were kind of getting at something, but that was a proud moment. So it's probably been repeated quite a few times over the years for my mum.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody is such an epic, isn't it? It's just the most powerful piece of music in very distinctive phases. You know, the dynamics of the record are incredible, aren't they?
Yeah, it's listening to like on Dad's hi-fi. I think that it was so dramatic, and there was a few songs like that, I think, that Mum and Dad would play. And I'm trying to think of other ones. Phil Collins, obviously, he made an appearance around that time, and Supertramp. So all those kinds of quite epic kind of stadium kind of sounds, I suppose. Very loud in our lounge.
Whereabouts did you grow up?
In Chester,
really?
Hollyoaks Town, yeah. So I was born in Liverpool and grew up in Chester, and then moved, I think in year 6 or something, to the Wirral Peninsula, which is kind of a few miles away. And but my school was in Chester because that's kind of where all my friends were from the first years, I suppose. And then I went to university in Sussex, Brighton.
Did you?
Yeah, I was trying to get as far away from school as possible, so I went to Brighton. I mean, I was born in Liverpool, but that was more to do with capacity at the hospital in Chester, and it was a better hospital in Liverpool. But my whole family's from there on one side, so my mum was quite happy about that. She thought we'd be lucky that we were born there as well. So
nice. And when did you start sort of playing instruments and stuff? Is that something your parents shoehorned you into doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the suggestion I think would have come from them to start piano lessons. I'm trying to. I think my mum always wanted like a piano in the house and things, and we did like me and my sisters we did like ballet, and that didn't go too well because I couldn't really behave in that kind of environment, and I found it quite boring actually. So piano I found really interesting, but I didn't like the exams, and it seemed like extra schoolwork. So I stopped. I basically gave my piano teacher an ultimatum and took Stairway to Heaven along with me and said, it's Lord of the Rings and Stairway to Heaven or nothing. And she was like, yeah, okay. I think she thought I was a lost cause, so she just kind of didn't put any pressure on me. And then I did that for a bit. Then when GCSEs and stuff came along, I kind of gave it up. But yeah, I played the piano in a play in school, and I was in a string quartet, but I was the left hand of a piano duo with my friend Natasha.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and we played like, I want to say the Verve and things like that, just to kind of give you a timestamp on the era. But we definitely did like pop songs like that, but I didn't study GCSE music or anything, although I kind of wish I did now, to be honest.
Yeah, I have to apologise for that leading question that I said then. The reason I said shoehorned was because I got shoehorned into doing it when I was a kid. I shouldn't lead a question like that, sorry. But yeah, that is really cool. That is really cool. And yeah, I think I had similar frustrations when I was learning the piano. I wanted to play Jean-Michel Jarre. Like, I wanted synths, and I was just playing this like blingy blongy blingy blongy like classical stuff. So yeah, I love that you actually sort of fought back and were like, you got to do it. We got to play these songs that I want. That's really, really, really cool.
That's funny you said Jean-Michel Jarre, because I would have wanted to do that too, but I didn't know who he was, but I knew the Oxygen part, whatever it is, because they always had it in the arcade where we went on holiday, playing on in the amusement arcade, and that was like, I remember hearing it and thinking, this is the best music of all time. Like, what is this? And yeah, it was just amazing that he got into that environment. I mean, how does one get into an arcade, That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he got everywhere. He was like the first guy to have a music concert in China. And yeah, he's broken down a lot of barriers over the years. And he's like ageless as well, Jean-Michel Jarre. He like he's like 70 or something. He still looks like he's about 45. Yeah.
Is that because he's French? Is that because he's French and they just are really stylish and you just, I don't know. I saw him speak at an event actually.
Really?
Guardian Live. Wow. My sister got me a ticket. Probably about 4 years ago now.
Yeah. Do you think French people are able to style out their age, so they're able to? Yeah. I think that's an interesting idea, that because they're so stylish, they actually are able to subtract years off their appearance by compensating with style.
Well, yeah, I do, but I also think, and this is me thinking about it for 2 seconds, is that they appreciate aging over there. Like, they actually appreciate like an older woman, and they appreciate, like, from a kind of style standpoint, there's certain things, even to do with makeup and stuff, that they do differently to what we do. Like, they're not obsessed with like anti-aging. Like, they think that dark circles under your eyes makes it look like you've had an interesting life, and all these kinds of things that you pick up. I mean, hopefully it's not just propaganda, but I think that, yeah, they have more of a respect for the aging process there than here, and maybe that's part of it as well.
Yeah. So what did you do at uni, by the way? You said you went to Brighton Uni.
Yeah, I did documentary making and media production.
Cool.
So yeah, it was very practical kind of stuff, and that's really where I started processing audio for the first time, and kind of preferred it to filmmaking, really.
Excellent. What was it like living in Brighton?
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, it was really great. It was quite I really enjoyed the freedom that it kind of represented at the time when I was there. And I mean, it was my first experience, you know, being around people that weren't from 2 miles down the road and stuff. And that's a lot of the people from London that were studying there actually brought a lot of knowledge about dubstep and things like that, which went on to kind of influence my early going out era, I suppose, when I was a student. And then I started meeting people that were producing the tracks that we were hearing, and that's really how I got involved with doing it myself, because I could see it being done around me.
I love that you went into it from video editing, from the audio side of video editing, because it's all of the video editors, they always have like plugins that are like the sort of native plugins to that video editing software. So yeah, whatever you buy, you've always got like a reverb and a chorus effect, and maybe something that will do side chaining and all that kind of stuff. But they're quite funny to use because they're not as hi-fi as maybe what you'd be used to in the production world, but they are still super fun to mess around with, and they've all got their own character.
Yeah, no, definitely, and it also became quite apparent that if you sound can't be an afterthought as well, because I think when you're approaching it from ground zero, you just are focusing on the shots and what you're actually going to be filming and things, and I think I soon realized that shit sound would ruin whatever you were doing, but we also had we had one teacher that I liked who was from Canada or somewhere, and he'd been a Foley artist in film, and so we had a whole, I don't even know if it was on the course or whether he was just showing us like things like if you were a boxer was going to break someone's nose in Raging Bull or whatever, you could punch a lettuce and stuff like that and recreate it. And that was like, wow, this is amazing. And it made it really fun. So that, I think, I can actually remember the first task that we did, which was sound-wise, which was like a black and white movie of like someone watching a film in a house, and we had to create the whole sound for it and with sound effects, and I turned it into like a really terrifying like scary thing, and I remember I put some canned laughter on, as if the person was watching like some eerie shit, like just some, and then I just find it really fun how sound had such my work compared to other people who'd gone down a completely different route had changed the whole thing. And that's when I thought, I could actually get into this thing.
That's cool. That's such a great avenue into it. And I completely agree about like when visuals and sound don't marry up, it's instantly jarring. Like you can't watch it. Like it's really odd, that, isn't it? That fusion really either works together or it doesn't. I think it also flips around. Like I sometimes do a bit of VJing, and you can really have a contrasting. You can really get it wrong VJing too. Like it sort of works in both directions in some way.
Yeah, it's not something that you can. I think it's one of those things. Like even like producing a podcast, sometimes people go, oh yeah, we should do a podcast, or you should do one, and as if you can just pull it out of thin air. And I think audio visuals, you might think you could just press a few buttons, but it actually probably takes loads of work to do that.
Yeah, I can say that I just generally throw this shit together and it sort of just about works out. But yeah, there is time required in the post production a little bit. I think that's probably the main one for me, aside from editing. That's great. And so when did you start like making your own music? Like you said, you're inspired by people on the scene. Yeah, when did you start making your own music? I
think it was, could it have been second year of university? yeah, I think it was second year of uni when I was out in Liverpool and with my sister, and I was speaking to a guy there about this night we were at where there's only like two people at it. And then it turned out he was from Liverpool, but he lived in Brighton. So we became really good friends. And then I was going on about wanting to learn how to produce, and he gave me a copy of Fruity Loops. And at that time, I was also listening to a lot of American stuff, like rap and things like that. So I think I started off by sampling Little John, trying to make some crunk when I was about 19 or something, 20. And then I was friends with my friend Tom, who ran Dub Pressure in Brighton, and another friend, Dave, who's friends with my friend Sim Hutchins. And so I've known him for, I don't know, longer than I know, really, like 12 years. And he was making stuff, and I was under several aliases, and I was doing drops for him. I was doing drops like for him, for his tracks in like a female voice. And then I can't remember who was the first. I think my friend Dave, I made a tune called like Magic Cat, which about my cat, which Dave put in a mix, because I felt like Dave was a proper DJ, and I think he got it put on vinyl or something. And then that was when I thought, I'm gonna have to start doing this properly, because it's really fun, and my friends can play my stuff. And
what, he put your track on vinyl?
Yeah, he cut a dub plate of it, and yeah, that was like in 2008 or 9 maybe.
Wow, there's no higher praise for your friend's music if your mate is cutting a VIP dub plate of your track.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, I hope I haven't scrambled that in my brain, but that's how I remember it.
What version of Fruity Loops was it?
It was pre-7. So
I'm going to say it was 3 or 4.
Yeah,
maybe.
It could have been 3. And that makes me feel like I was right there, right at the start of FLStudio, because now it's 20, isn't it, or 21 or something.
I know, it's so mad. It is. You were there right at the start.
Amazing, good. not quite. I think the start was like 2000, and wasn't it like 2000 or something? I don't know.
Probably, and there's probably like one track of audio, or no tracks of audio, and it's all MIDI, like Cakewalk was. That's cool. Yeah. What drew you to Fruity Loops? Why did you? What was it about that like got you?
It was because I had a PC and a laptop, and I liked the name, and someone was like, "Try Reason," and I remember thinking, "Well, I've never heard of that, so no." And I think I like the idea that I knew that grime. I knew about the grime connection as well, and the fact that it opened at 140 BPM, and that was what kind of helped shape grime as a sound, and or what came to be labelled as grime by external parties at the time. So I think I felt like I wanted to be connected to something that was going on, because I remember like at Dub Pressure, for example, DEE turned up one day in the crowd and things, and I just, when you see these people around and like who you idolize the music and things when you're like in your early 20s, I was like, I need to be part of that. So I think and obviously it's just very easy to use as well. Like if you've got a creative idea and you're not like, you've got good ideas, I think you should use Fruity Loops, because it's really easy to put your ideas down.
100%.
Yeah, it's not overcomplicated, and it's still produces like very high quality. Like you can still do whatever you can do in any other DAW. And like, for example, Ableton, I've never been able to really get on board with that, even though I've tried. I do find it's better for MIDI, for my Korg. It's easier to just set up and plug it in, but I can't be bothered with all the symbols and the shortcuts. It just doesn't compute with my brain.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think you're right about Fruity Loops as well. It is just one of those things that you can hit the ground running with an idea. I used Fruity Loops in the early part of making music, and I still really like the tracks I made of Fruity Loops, like maybe 20 years ago, or coming up to. So yeah, it's great. I think it's just, one of the things that is cool. I mean, the way it looks is quite nice. The way it was like quite modular. You could sort of move things around and set it up how you wanted it. Just the way that you could, if you were like doing a hi-hat pattern, you could just hold down the left button and go and just draw in all the hi-hats like that. That just made it so quick to just throw in ideas and just go, oh, put the snare there and put the snare there. The way it's like a step sequencer.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I found that cool.
I think the drum rack, what's it called? Yeah, I don't think it's called a drum rack, is it? No, that thing, the sampler thing, that's very good for drum patterns. And it because I always used to find drums quite like a boring necessity. And that was quite like just great because you didn't have to spend so much time thinking about it.
And I think also the 140 beats per minute that you talked about is an interesting place where like grime and techno meet together. Because there's definitely people making it for grime, and it's a funny tempo for it to open up with, because traditionally every single DAW is always opened at 120.
Yeah.
So that's quite just cool as like a stupid little thing. That's just a nice addition.
Yeah, I wonder who decided it.
Yeah. Cool. And so, when did you go on to your first release then, I suppose? Yeah, when did you start to think that you'd like to put your music out there?
I graduated and I went back up north, and I was still making tunes after I got in for my 9 to 5. I was back at home with my parents, and I obviously used to go back and forth, back to Brighton, back to go and stay in London with my friends, and it was like the one thing that I still had as continuity with my previous life. So I think I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, and then so Sully put one of my tunes in a fact mix, which was like a big deal, and then my friend Tom said, oh, we should put it out. And then and I was like, yeah. And then so my friend Tom, who ran Dub Pressure, him and his then partner Letty had this label, Wavy Tones, which they kind of created to put my tunes out on. And I think that was the only release that was on Wavy Tones. But yeah, that came out in 2012. So I'd moved to London by then, and we went to get it mastered at Bo mastered it from 1087, I think it's called. But I sat in on that, and then I was sitting in on it, being like, sorry if this is shit or whatever, because I felt like I felt like, oh my God, how am I getting away with this? And he was like, no, it's not shit, and you've not over processed it, so I can actually do something to it, which is the whole point of mastering, and everything is perfectly fine and balanced. So it was when I suppose when I heard him say that, I thought, oh, maybe I can do this or release more music. And yeah, I guess then went from there really.
Because I love your music. It's like it's so vivid and it's like really paints very strong pictures in the mind, like 3D space, and it's really like it's like going to another world in some way, like visiting somewhere.
Yeah, I think I probably quite like to see it as world building, which I didn't know was a word until recently, but I think that's what I tend to do is try and do something that's transportative, I suppose, that another reality, but not in a pretentious way. Like, I don't do anything really that fancy from a technical standpoint. Like, the more I learn about production, the more I think, well, I definitely haven't been doing that. Like, I didn't know, for example, until recently, that there were other things apart from panning that can widen your mix. I learned that when I was doing soundtrack work. I said like a couple of years ago, and no one's like, it's just interesting how you know, when you create stuff and you come at it from a certain kind of mindset, that you end up creating something that sounds quite unique, but it's really just you working with what you know, I suppose.
Definitely. And I really admire the sort of like trajectory that you've been on it with your music, in terms of that approach to making music, that you know, the sounds that you want to create, and the I think for a lot of people who are sort of self-taught in production, as I am, and I guess a lot of people are, and as you are, you can quite easily do something that is wrong that sounds great, you know, that like you know, people wouldn't think about doing because it's technically, or you know, it's not seen to be the way to do things. But I really like that approach, and I think you end up taking your music to some really interesting places when you do break those rules.
Yeah, I mean, I think the more you're aware of, the more barriers you have to creating something. I think you start thinking, maybe I can't do that, maybe I shouldn't do that, maybe I should be doing this, and it's all like driven by the ego mind. And particularly, you know, thinking about producing for other producers is driven by the ego mind. Like it's coming from a place of fear. Like, I need to prove that I can do this, and I need to prove that I know everything there is to know about production and all that. And I mean, obviously, some people have a genuine interest in learning all of it. Or sticking to the rules, I should say. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's a bloody machine, and you know, you can do what you want with it because you are the human, and that's the machine, and you can use it to express yourself like however you want.
Definitely. I spoke to a guy called Pendle Poucher who he makes like contact instruments, really weird ones, like treated pianos and stuff like that. And he was asked to do a preset pack for like Serum or Silent or something, and he said his approach to it was just to try and break it. That was his objective, was to make sounds with it that were basically it breaking and malfunctioning. And I was just like, man, that's such a cool way to approach it, because I would have just been like, oh shit, I need to deliver exactly what they want.
Yeah.
So then like I would imagine what they want and try and create that and get some fucking weird approximation of it.
Yeah.
Whereas I just love that he's going, oh, I'm just going to fuck it up, just make it sound mental and break it. Like, yeah, I just thought that was such a genius approach.
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's because I think when you start playing to like an imagined audience, like you it's completely lose sight of what you're actually trying to achieve. And if you've got a clear intention, then you should just stick with it, keep with it.
Definitely. And I really liked you were speaking in, I think this was in the Worldwide FM chat, which you did fairly recently. You were saying about when you sort of relating to what we're talking about now, in that when you start off, you're quite free, and there's no rules early on making music, and so you might actually create some of your most seminal work in that time. Something that's like a rough outline of what you're saying, but I really think that's true. It's like a very fertile time to just create with no limits.
Yeah, and I think then the challenge is then to try and keep that freedom as you progress as a producer. Yeah, because I mean, one of the first things I ever made was used on a Gucci advert, which if that hadn't have happened, you know, I might have I might have doubted myself at certain points about like that previous statement, but I know for a fact that I made that in 2009, and a freeware VST was involved in the making of it. And
are you going to dive? What was the VST?
I'm not going to divulge what it is.
You're not going to divulge.
I'm giving away all my secrets all the time, production wise. I'm going to keep that for myself.
It might be my favourite one ever is SQ8L. I don't know if you know SQ8L.
Don't know, but would I like it?
You'd fucking love it.
Well, maybe send me a link to that because I need to branch out.
It's only 32-bit Windows, so you need to either do some jiggery pokery, or well, I can explain it, but it's honestly worth it.
I have got a laptop, I've got a Dell which has got 32-bit FLStudio on it, so I could just open it in that.
SQ8L, you love it. It's a VST replication of the SQ80, which is an Ensoniq synth, and basically all the Ensoniq, that's an American company. They all just sound amazing. All the stuff Ensoniq did in like the late 90s and early 2000s is just badass. It sounds amazing. And the SQ80 is like the digital. It was released in a time when digital was not cool anymore, I think, when it was just... Oh no, maybe it was actually cool when it came out. But yeah, that is a secret weapon. That is amazing. Cool. Brilliant. So how did that Gucci thing come about then? Because I wasn't aware that was an old track of yours. How did it come about? And what did it feel like to see your music played on that?
Well, I did kind of update it for the advert, but 99% of it was the original thing. I just added in, because I'd bought the Korg, I decided to add some swooshy noises into it. You know, that's the end. That's it, basically. How did it come about? Well, one of my friends, it was quite funny actually, because one of my friends was putting my work forward at her agency, and it wasn't the right fit for various things. And then I kind of just, she said, "Oh, I think we might have a hit with one of your tracks." And I was like, all right, cool, thinking, I've heard it's not going to happen. And then my wildest dreams came true. And I think the best thing about it is that TP Hedren is in the advert from Hitchcock's The Birds. I mean, that's just amazing, isn't it? And the advert just looks so good as well. It's about a fortune teller. And it basically legitimized my existence to my entire family. So that was the main thing it did as well, which is why it's still in my email signature.
Congratulations on obtaining familial success. I still haven't done that yet. I'm still like the fucking failure. That's really cool. And phenomenal thing to be part of. There's no, again, I mean, you've with your own friend pressing a dub plate of your record, and then the Gucci advert. These are like hugely reassuring.
There are about 20 years in between both of those events. But it is reassuring, isn't it?
Definitely, Cool. And I just want to quickly ask you before I forget, and I know we are going to run out of time at some point, but I just wanted to ask you if I'm right in thinking that you created the Fatberg Twitter account.
Oh my God, how do you know that?
Well, because I think I used to follow you when I was on Twitter. I followed you on Twitter, and I think you mentioned it at some point. And I just that is one of the funniest things ever.
Well, it's not my first parody account, but it was the one that got on Channel 4's Twitter feed. So it was quite funny actually, because I was in a job with a really good team, like an office job, but I'd handed in my notice. And because I'd had enough, and I was just losing the will to live, and we'd all just been banned on Skype from private conversations, and we had a group that we were all, me and my colleagues were in, and the news broke about the Fatberg, because part of our job was monitoring the news, and the news broke about the Fatberg, and I don't know whether and as soon as it broke, as a joke, I put in the thing, like the Twitter account, and put a tweet that I'd done. And just as the joke in itself that a parody account had already sprung up, for this Fatberg. And then ITV News had a live blog on it, and they updated their blog with, and a Twitter account has just been created. And the entire office burst out laughing at the same time. And then the manager was like, giving me the evils, like, what have you done? Why is everyone laughing when we've all just been banned from Skype?
Yeah, you're not allowed to be having a good time, essentially.
Yeah, it was, honestly, looking back, it was just awful, but it still unites us to this day. I think that was like 2012 or 13, I think that was.
Absolute genius. That's like one of the funniest things ever.
Did you see it then? Or did you see it first time round, or did you?
Okay, first of all, let's just define what the Fatberg is for people that don't know, because there's probably some people from not England who are listening. What is the Fatberg?
Oh, I can't believe you're making me define it.
Okay, should I define it? I'll define it. Okay, a Fatberg, as far as I understand it, it was some massive lump of fat that's within the streets of the sewers and the underground of London.
I think this one was in Kingston.
Was it in Kingston?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like basically a giant lump of
It's
fat.
like baby wipes and cooking oil.
It was sort of, I think they photographed it and it looked, and then someone coined the term Fatberg.
Yeah.
But
because it was the size of an iceberg or something.
Yeah, but I think what you did, like, you managed to, you took it to the next level. The Fatberg was suddenly like everyone was talking about it, and then like it was also, and it's got a Twitter account, which is just fucking hilarious.
And since then, the Fatbergs have got so much press. I think I started the whole thing, really.
Yeah, you could be like an ambassador. You could be like worldwide ambassador for raising awareness about Fatbergs.
Yeah, I remember. I have to check. I forgot the password of it, but I can't remember how it. I think maybe that was what ended it. Actually, I think I was worried it was going to get hacked, so I put two-factor authentication on it. Then lost a phone. And forgot the password and could never get into it again. I think that's what happened.
Oh, what a shame. But brilliant idea, Emma. That is like one of the fucking funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you.
Just had to ask you about that. No problem. Yeah. Oh, well, is there anything that you would like to talk about? Is there anything that you'd like to discuss or bring up?
Maybe we could play a track from the album one that came out last year or something like that.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, if you send me the track, then I'll put it in at this point.
Should I introduce the track off the album?
Okay.
And talk. Maybe I could say that we could end on it. Maybe. I mean, if it's not the format. I don't want to mess with the format.
No, it's fine. I mean, this is the whole beauty of it being just literally a thing I do from my bedroom. It's like everything can change. I've started putting weird sound effects in in the intros when people donate to the podcast. I put the sound effect from Zelda when he opens up a big treasure chest when someone donates.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, I'm not afraid to shake it up a bit. Yeah, so I guess, ProducerGirls is a good thing to talk about, isn't it? So yes. That's something you started in around 2016. What's the ethos and the idea behind ProducerGirls?
Well, it's essentially direct action, grassroots. To, when I started it was to do with actually physically doing something that would encourage more women and gender minorities to take up music production, because at that time I think it was pre kind of any discussion on the gender imbalance in music production. It was a bit of a hostile time in general, as in there was a lot of the boiler room trolling and all that kind of stuff was quite unpleasant and putting a lot of people off, I think. So yeah, I just really wanted to share my skills, really. That's where it started, because I remembered that at university we used to do a similar thing where we used to put on lectures of what we'd learned to other students who didn't take the course, and it is part of like our student kind of activism. And yeah, so then I wanted to do it on FLStudio. I wanted to find, because that's what I know, I wanted to find other producers that would inspire people to attend and take it up. So I put a tweet out asking for help, and PJam was the first producer to reply and help, and didn't even know who I was, and offered to help in any way he could, and brought in Dexplicit, who his mate, who's both of them now very good friends of mine. And then I approached Ikonika, because I knew that she'd used FLStudio at some point and had given me feedback in the early days, and would be a great coach as well. And then Nightwave in Scotland, she was doing similar stuff, and she got in touch, and I would say that she's kind of gone off and run her own workshops as part of ProducerGirls up there, and I've lost count of the amount of artists that have come out of it and released stuff and done amazing things. And we've had people attend workshops in Manchester who've gone on to teach music production themselves, and people that have just done great things, and it just brought me in contact with so many lovely people, which we're continuing it as a kind of online thing within the kind of current circumstances. And you can actually get the same message out there to more people. I know that makes me sound like an old fogey, but we've, on our Worldwide FM show, we had tracks sent in from South America, Vietnam, Paris, all over the place, really. So just feels more important than ever, really.
Yeah, it's a tremendous thing you've done. I think the concept itself is brilliant, and you're definitely going to be somewhere online I read you had 600 applications for the workshops that you run, which that's really, really incredible. And also to get like big name producers or like established producers in to help run those things is it's great for people to see that stuff, see what they're doing in FLStudio in front of them, and then realize that they can do it. It's
just a demystifying it element, because a lot of it is we must have had thousands of applications overall, and one of the questions that I would put in would be, why have you not started doing this yet? Because I just wanted to know, because I genuinely didn't know the answer. And it was largely a confidence thing. People just assumed it was really complicated and they wouldn't be able to do it. People didn't have anyone to ask questions to. They couldn't make use of the really unorganized and overcomplicated resources on the internet, which I get confused by as well. And then I kind of thought, well, the core principles that I know, I learned either myself after being pushed in the right direction by a friend, or I learned from another human. So if you don't know other producers, then it's 10 times harder, really. So I wanted to try and create a community where it's not just about us and them, but people can meet and learn from each other as well.
Fantastic. And I mentioned it earlier. You recently did a show on Worldwide FM as part of ProducerGirls, didn't you? Showcasing some of the tracks of some of the previous participants, which were absolutely incredible.
Well, thanks for listening, Chris. It was Worldwide FM. Shout out Will and Erica from Worldwide FM. Wanted to provide a platform for ProducerGirls, and we were kind of thinking about what the show could look like, and it soon became clear, because we were going to do like more of a tech discussion on there, but I suddenly thought this needs to be about the followers' music, like it needs to be a platform, and we put the call out for tracks, and we just sent so many amazing tunes. It was like, these are from people that have just started producing in the last year as well, a lot of them, and the standard was just really high, and everyone had a nice story, like an interesting story behind their work, and about who it was for or what it was about, and the effects of like lockdown and stuff. And it's turned out really well.
It's fantastic. There's people from Buenos Aires, from Scotland, people from someone from Brighton. There was one, I think the one from Scotland, that they had a record signed to Soma Records or something.
Lisa Lou,
which is nuts.
It's
like absolutely seminal record label.
That's amazing. And Yeah, I think she attended the Scottish ProducerGirls.
Well, I think you should be tremendously proud of yourself for what you're doing. Obviously, don't dwell on your pride for too long, but yeah, you know, you should be proud of what you've done there. I think it's an amazing thing, like an ever-expanding, growing, beautiful thing.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes next. We're just trying out a few things really to kind of make it as useful as possible for people, but keep its integrity and make it manageable to, you know, keep it going long term.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing that you've done there. And you write for DJ Mag as well?
Yes, I because a year ago now, actually, to the week, I started writing the tips on the ProducerGirls Instagram, because I just felt like when they announced the lockdown and stuff, and people were talking about learning Italian and things, people were downloading Duolingo this time last year, thinking we could ever travel again. I just thought, okay, I'm going to have to do some tips for people, because they're going to be, we had about 600 followers, and I just thought that I'm sure they'll benefit, they'll like some tips. I wanted to do something useful, really. But we've now got over 2,000 followers in that time, which is crazy. But I don't know how we've managed that, but people seem to like the contrast between the ridiculous aesthetics, the graphics, and the straight talking in the comments.
No nonsense
tech tips.
Yeah, I think yeah, you do have like a really good aesthetic, would be how people would say it. Yeah, but that also crosses over with your music and your releases as well, which we should maybe talk about in a second. Yeah, I love the visuals for ProducerGirls. It's really fun, you know. It's like fun and vibrant. And do you know the guy who does? He's called Underbelly, and he does "You Suck at Producing"?
No.
Oh, okay. You might like him, right? Because he's quite a big YouTuber in terms of like the music tech world, but he just uses like ridiculous analogies for stuff, and he names his tracks like Uncle Joe's Barbecue is like. He always references his Uncle Joe in various scenarios in the production process, but yeah, he's got a completely off the wall, stupid, like silly approach to music production. But within his videos, there are amazing lessons to learn about production. But he just brings these stupid narratives and these weird analogies that make you laugh, but at the same time, you really learn from them.
Well, yeah, that's like what I'm trying to do, and because I just feel like sometimes I want to cry at how boring a lot of the stuff is. And when you're under pressure or stress trying to find an answer to something, you want to be able to laugh at it. You want to be able to have a sense of humour about it. So I think it's really, I'm going to check that out, actually. Sounds...
Oh, he's great. Underbelly. I mean, he's called Underbelly. That's just funny on its own. But yeah, I think I like doing funny, stupid stuff, because a lot of people take themselves way too seriously. And yeah, it's just good to prat about, isn't it, sometimes?
Definitely. Yeah, no, I mean, that's like, even like with my music, I have a sense of humour about it, because I think, I don't know, it's part of my character, I suppose, but I think it's important.
Definitely. It is, yeah. I mean, for example, Indigo Dream, off the top of my head, I know you have a track called Ryan Gosling in Space.
Well remembered. I couldn't actually back up what I just said. I was thinking, what was the funniest thing that I've... And then thank God you've remembered that, because I couldn't remember it.
That sometimes happens in reverse in interviews. Like, I've sort of forgotten something, and then the person I'm speaking to like picks up from where my brain like completely fucking forgot it. So I'm glad to repay the favour back.
Yeah,
that's
the
great.
Universe rewarding you. Yeah, I mean, that was because the track I actually took, influence from his whole like crossover into being film director and Lost River, which I thought was really good. I loved his directorial debut, but I remember some snobby review said that he'd like referenced too many other directors or something like that. like he'd got too many and some snobby shit. But I just kind of thought, well, maybe I am referencing Ryan Gosling, so I'm just going to come out and say it, because I like, Drive and Lost River, and that particular era of like synth music and Ryan Gosling just in silence. It was quite.
There's also.
Yeah. I was just going to say it's quite influential on my like mid-20s.
There was also the one called Only God Forgives.
That as well, yeah. But I found that too scary to watch, so I just had to listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah, it was a bit of a switch up. Like, I watched Drive and loved Drive, and then I was really looking forward to that. And then, it was a bit more of a slightly intense film.
Yeah.
Because Drive's you can watch Drive and relax, and then sometimes
they just like stove someone's head in, and then it's just, again, Kavinsky, so you can just chill out a bit. But...
Don't know. Oh, how's your chicken doing, by the way? Is you on top of that?
I've because I had such a packed day, I had to prep the vegetables at like 4 p.m, which made me feel like a character from Beauty and the Beast, like the teapot. I was like, why am I doing this now? But it's all it should be out of the oven now, and my mum and dad and sister should have eaten it by now.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, we are getting close. I think we're getting... Ableton's telling me we're quite close to an hour now. So do you want to maybe just talk a little bit about Indigo Dream? Is that cool?
Yeah, so my album Indigo Dream came out in July last year. And it was basically that because what my previous releases were always a little bit crammed into capitalism, like... a bit rushed and a little bit sporadic, and also then I started DJing a lot, so I was more focused on that really, and getting better at DJing, and I spent a lot of time not producing, but I had all my ideas were still kind of formulating and as to what I wanted to do next, where I needed to go next. And initially, when I finished my first album, people were asking, what are you going to do now in 2013? I said I was going to make synthetic Western music. And I made a couple of tracks that were Western synth music, which have appeared on the album in a different guise, Glitter and Ballad of Janet, the last 2 tracks. But yeah, I suppose I basically quit my job, my full-time job, again, like a pattern emerging here. But
I've done that many a time as well.
Yeah, I always prefer to just walk out, on my terms, and
there's something quite rock and roll about doing that, isn't there?
It's like
Go, fuck you all.
Yeah, exactly. So I saved up some money to quit and take 6 months to just pull all the strings together, basically, of the 5-year-old demos and the Ryan Gosling in space and the synthetic Western, and there were other things that there were other themes, like the title track or Into Indigo. I made that in like 2015 maybe, or it's the first iteration of it, but I knew it had the potential to be I knew that they all had the potential to be more spacious and more cinematic, and that there was definitely a through line between everything, but I'd never had the time to do it on properly. So yeah, I spent like a really nice 6 months writing down all my notes and working out what was missing and what needed to be rewritten, and just making sure I gave things the time that they needed. And I was also doing like a film soundtrack at the same time, so I was having to learn loads of stuff for that to make it sound cinematic. So then I applied all of that to my album, and there's also, what's quite funny is I did a short course in an intro to film composing at Goldsmiths, and the 2 things that I presented to the class were panned by the teacher, including The first thing was a chase scene from Enemy of the State with Will Smith, which we had to soundtrack, which I remember thinking, this is a bit weird because this is like an artifact from like 2001 or something, or 1999, I don't know. But it was really fun. So I did it, like that Y2K, like bleepy kind of music where people thought the future was like, I don't know, the Millennium Bug or whatever.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed like using like all these like really cheesy presets from FLStudio, and it was really fun. But he just had a blank face, I think, when I presented it. I don't know whether he thought I was taking the piss or what, but and then the next thing was Dracula with Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder, and I did like a harpsichord thing for that, which the guy hated. But both of the MIDI melodies from both of those project files ended up on my album in different guises as well.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So the Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder love scene is on Shell as the MIDI strings in the intro. And the guy getting hit with the lorry, the Enemy of the State, and lying on the floor as the camera pans out. That's in Ballad of Janet.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my
it's
god!
One of the synth melodies, which is probably completely inappropriate for Enemy of the State. Yeah. it was enough to annoy my neighbours and get me out of a writer's block anyway. So shout out to that course.
That's so cool. And I think there is a slight, I mean, we've talked a bit about, adulation and reassurance and things like that, but there is a slight glory in the fact that your teacher hated what you did. There's like a glory in that, isn't there, sometimes too, of like, yeah, I really like it. It probably like was one of the most memorable things. And I love that you put, you turned that thing into something new, and you used that. That's an amazing, I guess in the film world they would call that like an intertextuality, wouldn't they?
I mean, God knows, to be honest. I just wanted to get one over on him. So no, I mean, I don't hold musical grudges. I mean, that sounds ridiculous, but it was more that I liked it, and I just thought, okay, well, maybe in this form it's not, I mean, it's just sitting on my hard drive. I might as well try and do something with it, because I like that one melody, so I'm going to take it and put it somewhere else.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic that you did that. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. And then you've also scored a few sort of short films. I know your sister does video production professionally. So people should check out Liberty. There's Light Years. There's a thing I couldn't find, which is That Girl Peugeot.
Oh, yes. Firstly, my sister Sophie, shout out to her. We've collaborated on a couple of short films. The latest one is in a nocturne in Paris, which is done pre-lockdown. It's all of our collaborations centre around what is it to be free to walk around in a space as a woman. So like Liberty was in nature, Light Years was in London at night, and Nocturne in Paris is walking around Paris at night. That Girl Peugeot, that was directed by Rebecca Coley. Shout out to her, Becky. And that's on the the festival circuit. So I think that's why it's not online anywhere. But there's trailers online somewhere, I think. But yeah, that was a really amazing project to work on, and I learned a lot, and it was just so nice to have a meaningful collaboration with such an esteemed director who a lot kind of gave me freedom as an artist, but also a lot of great stuff to work with, where it kind of ended up writing itself, really, because I was using the cues from what her and the team had created.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think it's like an extension of the visual world you're creating with sound. Yeah, it works really, really well in video. Maybe space, you've done one in nature, one in like the city. and maybe one in space. Get Ryan Gosling in.
Oh, I'll mention that to Sophie. I think, yes, she would definitely approve. In fact, we definitely were. There was a long discussion about us doing a video for that. So maybe now is the time.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for speaking to me today. It's been really fun to speak to you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I really love what you're doing, and I think your approach to production is really admirable. And I think you give a lot of people hope and a lot of people excitement about making music. So,
Thanks, Chris. That's a nice thing to say. Hope so.
That's all right.
Thanks for having me.
That's okay. Would you like to introduce the track that you're going to introduce? And we'll say goodbye now. And go for it.
I'm going to introduce, I think, Glitter off my album Indigo Dream, because I don't know if you've heard it, Chris, but I think you might like that one. Yeah, that was one of the ones that started off as a Western tune that I kind of then made into a one-hit wonder 1970s number one kind of vibe.
Excellent.
So it's Glitter.
Cool.
It's Glitter.
So good to speak to E.M.M.A. She's a really, really talented producer. I love her approach to making music. I love the sort of explorative element to her production and her sound. It's really sort of dreamlike and ethereal, and it's a great testament to just going on your own path with music making and not necessarily following the herd and following what everyone else is doing. Also, just a really fucking hilarious chat, especially talking about the Fatberg and the chicken and various other things with E.M.M.A. We got 2-week break now, basically just got one of the world's biggest stars on the show somehow. I'm not going to say who it is just yet, but you will find out in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate everybody listening. If you want to donate, please donate. That would be superb. Let's say goodbye and reconvene in 2 weeks' time for one of the world's biggest artists. I'm midierror, and I'll see you again soon.